love wrestling, and we are the degenerates who want to talk about it. Welcome to episode 5 of Kicking Out at 2. As always, with me is Tori. Hi, Tori.
Howdy, howdy.
Today we are going to talk about AEW in general. We're going to talk about Dynamite and Rampage, kind of book that into one show. A decent couple of shows. We were kind of talking off air, and like it's literally what it was. It were decent. Like nothing really extravagant about it. Kind of run through the match card just here real quick. We had the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal. Participants in that were Ricky Starks, Jungle Boy, The Butcher, The Blade, Dustin Rhodes, Orange Cassidy, Brian Cage, Lee Moriarty, Ethan Page, Kip Sabian, Matt Hardy, Captain Sean Dean, and Dalton Castle.
We had a Captain Sean Dean time. I don't think Blade was in that. I think Blade was just outside. He got involved, but I don't think he was in the match.
You may be right.
Get thrown out and he just hung out.
He may have just hung out. These transcripts come from Bleacher Report.
We'll blame them then.
The first, I don't know, 5 minutes of that was all just a jumble anyway.
It's any battle royal when they all start in the ring. It's always a clusterfuck to start with.
Yeah, I thought Big Bill or Bill Cosby or whatever his name is now. I thought he was in it, but he's just standing outside. And then you had...
He's tall enough that he looked like he was in it.
Yeah, Dalton Castle's two boys out there. So I'm surprised they weren't in it too. Just throw everybody in here that you can.
Right.
So... basically, the idea of this one is this would just get the person the ring.
Normally.
Normally. A little different now that MJF has the ring, so now Starks has a chance to face MJF to get it. So it's
and the title.
Yeah, so it's a little weird, but that's okay. Pretty fun.
There was some crazy stuff, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun match. I mean, battle royals are always just kind of a load of fun. Some of the overarching stories, you had the Ethan Page Hardy stuff going on, where Hardy's helping out to the best of his ability or not to help Ethan Page win the match. But you did actually get down to Ethan Page, Ricky Starks, and Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy does the Twist of Fate a couple of times in the match, which finally Ethan kind of loses his mind about because he's not supposed to use it.
Is he not? I haven't kept
not.
Up with that storyline.
Yeah, so the basic idea of that storyline is obviously we know Matt Hardy, his contract is owned by the firm. Ethan Page is kind of designated as his boss, so he's the one telling him what to do.
Okay.
He's saying he can't use Twist of Fate. That is now Ethan Page's move. He stole that move from him. So to compensate that, Matt Hardy has started doing Ethan Page's move, which is kind of like that modified Razor's Edge.
Yeah.
So
that's funny.
Kind of fun doing that. There was an interview last week, I think it was, where he'd used it in the match, and Ethan Page was telling him, "Hey, I'm going to find these guys," talking about Private Party, because you are disobeying me again.
Right.
And we got glimpse of Broken Hardy coming back.
I've noticed
the
that.
Wild-eyed, the yelling, screaming thing. So I think that's kind of where we're going, is bringing that back, and he just won't care anymore. So yeah, he used it a couple of times, which Ethan Page did not like. Got them to fight. Ended up Matt Hardy ended up being thrown out. And so it ended up being
Ricky Starks, Ethan Page was solid.
Yeah.
Exactly how I expected.
Those two. The thing I did like about it, so I figured Starks was coming away with this. However, the thought of Ethan Page against MJF was kind of a good thought too. So even though I thought
versus MJF,
even though I thought Starks was coming away with it, it still gave me a little bit of intrigue if they could go that way and it'd still be a great story.
Right.
So Ricky Starks ends up throwing out Ethan Page, winning it. I do like, so just like a little programming note of Ricky Starks. I think I mentioned a couple of weeks back that I didn't like the gimmick where he like puts his head in his hands, that thing, where you're like half Booker T, half Rock.
Right.
He didn't do that this week. And so
he did it when he came out.
Did he? Okay. I didn't see it when he came out then.
He did, but it was more of a like it's time to fight kind of thing.
Well, and that might be why I didn't notice it, because like previously it was like very much like he
No, the
poses there
second
for a
he hit
second.
when he hits the top of that stage and the music hits,
Yeah,
he drops that pose, which I like the pose. I just need an explanation.
yeah. Just a couple of highlights from that particular match. So there was an enormous pop for Rhodes. That's always going to happen. Dustin,
In
absolutely,
Texas.
yeah, in Texas. Um, he's also announced that the end of his career is going to be this year, and so that also could add to the pop. Or sorry,
22
2023,
or 23?
23. Sorry,
I
I'm
was like,
already done with
what?
December. Um,
I don't blame him. He's been doing it forever and
absolutely.
much love. I've always been a fan.
So
The
here,
Natural was a terrible gimmick, but I've always been a fan of his in-ring performance.
see, I liked the natural. I didn't like it just because Dusty
It
was
was
with
so
him.
bland.
Dusty was very much an overshadow. I think just the natural Dustin Rhodes could have worked if we didn't have Dusty like
Right,
being the catalyst for it. Um,
right.
just kind of on that real quick, if AEW management is not going to give him some sort of title run this year coming up to end that career, um,
Right.
I would like to see them do a deal with NWA so he could go down there and win the NWA belt.
I don't know after everything I'm seeing from
Yeah,
Nick Aldis, I don't know that anybody's going to want to deal with that. But you have a point. Even if it's a here hold this for a week or two,
yeah.
put a
Just
title on him that matters.
well, and that one specifically because that's his dad's belt.
Yeah,
Like, let him have his dad's belt for a little bit.
yeah.
Just
Well, I mean, if they want to put the TNT title on him for a minute, I'd be okay with it. It's one of those. If you're going to do it, have him go out, have a match with Joe. He's getting his ass handed to him. Wardlow and or Hobbs comes out, beat down Joe. Dustin picks up the scraps with a code red,
yeah,
and title. A week or two later, he drops the title to someone else.
yeah,
But then him and Cody have both held that title.
yeah. Which would be fitting. That would be fitting too. And with it being the TNT title, I mean, TNT itself is synonymous with WCW. Dusty is
Not
synonymous
going
with
to hurt him.
WCW.
Not
Yeah,
going to hurt
it's
the title at all. Just to
um,
have Dustin's name on it is not going to hurt that title.
no. Well, and I mean, just as far as it also be fitting, it fits Rhodes in general. So
Yes,
Cody
I
has
agree.
it, Dustin has it.
I
TNT
agree.
itself is so
I
synonymous
agree.
with WCW back in the day.
Yeah,
Um,
because it still is. I
yeah,
mean, they talk about all the time. This is the first time they've been on TV since whatever year, which was obviously WCW.
right. Um, the Blade interfered, pulling Cassidy to the floor, which drew a lot of boos. Um, so definitely a good heel move there.
I
I
definitely think I think we're going to get Orange MJF at some point.
yes,
I don't know what it'll be for or why, but it's going to happen at some point.
uh, thinking that he keeps the title, it'll probably be for the title, and it'll be one of those like he's going to beat Cassidy, and that's going to be one of those roads to wherever the end is going to be. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see MGF fighting different types of people as he goes along until we get whoever's going to beat him. So like
Yeah,
Cassidy would be that good like unorthodox odd character,
very much
um,
so. Very much so.
and then move on to like a Daniel Bryan to get the to get the hardcore wrestling one.
Fucking love that kid.
Yeah, so good.
I love that whole thing with him. I love Orange Cassidy.
Rhodes delivering a running Canadian destroyer was kind of sweet. Um, the fact that he is 112 and can still do stuff like that, like oh my god, he is so
It's one
good.
of those things that is so dependent on the other person, but he still makes it look so good.
Absolutely. Um, the boys momentarily helped out Castle, so we kind of had like a New Day Kofi spot ish um, in it, and it was kind of fun. Threw him up there, he got knocked back down by Cage. Threw back up there, knocked back down from Cage. They went to the
Dalton
other side like
Castle
this
is
is
a
gonna work.
talented guy. I'm not. I'm not thrilled with him. I'm just okay.
Yeah.
I know people that love him. I'm just okay.
Well, to me that's one. It's one of those gimmicks. Like I was one of the few back in the day that loved Disco. Like Disco Inferno was a great character to me. A lot of people hated him. Some people like there's a little corner of the market that was like, but he's entertaining. He's fun. And
He
I
was
think,
entertaining as hell. I'll give you
yeah,
that.
and that to me is a lot like Dalton Castle. Like he's really entertaining. I don't see a lot of him in the ring, and I think maybe that's why like some people who like both the entertaining and the in ring don't really see much in him because I don't. When he gets in the ring, I don't see a lot.
He's not bad. I just,
Yeah.
eh.
Um, Paige ordered Hardy around, as we already said. It did. Matt did finally get to do his delete chance, which kind of pushes more he's maybe going back to that broken area. When MJF came out, some of the back and forth from him, like that was a great talking
that
segment between the two. The
that
you ain't nothing more than a dollar store Dwayne.
was
Jesus.
look. This does not need to be a one-off.
No.
This needs to be a series of. I'm not saying we need a new, but an elite Death Triangle series type thing.
Mm-hmm.
This needs to go on for a bit. I actually don't like that it's for the title and the ring.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I don't disagree. I think this should have been the shot at the ring.
And
He
then if
gets
he
that.
wins that, then he stakes claim to, I beat you already.
Yeah.
I deserve a title shot.
Well, and to me, like people always dog 50-50 booking, but sometimes it works out. And to me, that would be
Right.
the perfect 50-50 booking is he wins the ring, loses the title. Like, that's fine. It makes Ricky Starks look good because he beat MJF, but then it still makes MJF look strong because then he beats Ricky Starks.
Well,
And
and
then we
that's
have
just
that
it, though.
floating moment of a third match down the line somewhere.
With the Dynamite, it doesn't say you have to win by pinfall. It just says you have to win.
Yeah.
MJF could get himself disqualified and put a beat down on, and they come out and be like, you still lost. He gets the ring now.
Yeah. Well, and see, that would be perfect. He uses the ring to do it. Uses the ring, got caught, loses the ring because he used it.
Yeah. Or he uses the ring, Starks kicks out of it, he whips out the brass knucks and gets caught.
Yeah.
Something like that. It takes the ring off the table for MJF. Now it's the knucks.
Yeah.
And Starks gets the ring, which is a huge. Starks is already so over with their fan base.
Yeah.
They love that kid. Heel, face, it doesn't matter. They love that kid.
Yeah.
And he's talented as hell. He's great on a microphone.
Yep.
I enjoyed that whole promo. The low blow was too obvious.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate it. It kept the segment going, and I liked the way it ended.
Yep. I do wish the only thing I probably would have made note if I was producing that segment is let's not bring up the Roddy Piper stuff again because he called him a dollar store Dwayne, and then he was like, yeah, from a second rate Roddy Piper. We've kind of already dealt with that with what was it, him and Punk? I think it was.
Yeah,
and Punk was referred.
One of them said it.
Yeah, like
somebody has said it before.
Yeah, let's not bring that back.
Yeah, but if that's one of those continual knocks on him, I don't have a problem with bringing it up once and just bring it up once and let it go.
Yeah,
it doesn't need to be beat to death. Bring it up once, let it go, be done with it.
Yeah.
And
what I almost would have preferred is them going to, you had to take out the person that you thought you were most like or better than and refer to him as a broken wood regal.
That would have worked.
Because then it still gets that away from it, and he's,
right.
the whole last couple of months tying into that, I think would have been a little bit better. But yeah, so the whole talking segment was great. I mean,
yeah,
I can nitpick it all day long, but yeah, it was definitely a good set for the two of them. And like you said, I don't think it should be a one-off. Even in I've said before, I don't like saying the next this or the next that, but this could be their Rock Austin. Like that's how good I think that promo was.
And I know Ricky Starks had done some independent stuff before he got there, but I had never heard of the kid before AEW.
Yeah.
I know there was a lot of talk about when he signed him going to WWE at the time to NXT. So obviously Hunter had his eye on him.
Yeah.
Um, but AEW is what's made his name nationwide.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to me, they're both you're looking at homegrown talent.
Yep.
Again, MJF had done some stuff before he got there, but
Not to this level.
not to this level and not to this exposure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I definitely think that you could definitely build this. I don't know that saying Rock Austin is hard because that was such a almost once in a lifetime type thing.
Oh, for
And
sure.
I'm not taking anything away from the feuds before them, like Dusty Flair, Steamboat Flair, Macho Steamboat, like those. But Austin Rock was a whole nother level.
It was, and I don't want to throw that. I don't want to throw that statement around lackadaisically. To me, the idea of it is that this could be their feud. That if you have nothing else going on, you could come back to this and you'll make money.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that's kind of what I mean by that. Not so much that could be at the same level because you're right. And will we ever get something to that level again? I don't know. But what I mean is just like that could be their storyline that they could always go back to, and it'll always
Yeah.
draw. It'll always be good, and you could always have something behind it. If you had a
Well,
cold
and
start it tomorrow, you could have someone, Ricky come out and say some stuff to MJF or vice versa, and bam, we're right back on.
I think it's one of those that, yeah, and I think they both have the mic skill, the in-ring talent, the like. They're to me, they're both what I consider like 5-tool player.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can do it all, and it doesn't matter what style they do, they can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So
So
then we have. Hmm?
go ahead.
Oh, so then we have the TNT Championship. Darby Allin versus Samoa Joe. This was not a match I thought I would want to see, but it was a lot of fun. Um,
Yes.
so we got to have a nope spot, which I love. Always good to have a Samoa Joe nope spot. Um, doing the coffin drop and then landing on Joe and Joe just putting him in the cookie and clutch, just like that. Great. Um,
Yes.
for the most part, though, I mean, Joe did decimate
Well, but
Darby, but that again though, that's why I say like I didn't know this was a match I would want to see because that's all I figured it would be, but we got enough fun in it that I enjoyed it.
yeah, it was. I enjoyed this match a lot. I love Joe. I like Darby Allin. Um, I think Darby has. I like the way he's kind of mixing in like Sting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah,
It's different and I like it.
yeah, and as he should. So it's like to me, I kind of think of it like Seth Triple H on the WWE side, where you know Triple H was kind of tutoring Seth, and he was part of that corporation during that time period. And then
Yeah,
Seth started to incorporate some stuff from Triple H into his repertoire, and
pedigree
he
and
kept it.
so on.
Yeah, I think it's great. Having him pass on some of that stuff to Darby, him being Sting, that's perfect. And
Yeah, I agree.
those moves are perfect for Darby because Darby needs stuff that he can hit on anybody, and so
Yes.
Stinger splashes, the Scorpion Death Drop, those are perfect things that he can hit no matter who you are. Um, I don't know if I want to see him do the Death Lock, um, because he's
I
such a little
mean,
guy.
yes, but it depends on who he's doing it on.
No,
Somebody
I
like
agree.
Starks, MJF, cool.
Yeah,
Joe, Wardlow, it makes no sense. They're
right.
like, no, it doesn't make sense.
Um, at the end, Joe did a muscle buster on Allen, which made me cringe. Just for the simple fact of like he did it on the skateboard and the wheels were up and
Yes.
Jesus, like one small error of how you land that, and you have
Yeah.
screwed him up. Like that's a lot. Um, so
So
then
that was nice to be able to come back to that too.
yeah. And then
That's one of my things that I appreciate with AEW is even when they have a blow-off match, you can still come back to it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Long-term booking, and I'm good with it.
Yep. We did get a little bit of Wardlow, Warlord's World and all that stuff. Um, I'm ready. I'm already ready for that part of the feud to be over. Like, let's either give him the title back so we can split off the titles, or just have him lose. One of the two. I don't care. Let's be
make
done.
him stop saying Wardlow's World, please,
Yeah.
for the love of God.
So that leads us to the tag match: Castagnoli and Yuta versus Garcia and Hagar. Good match. Like none of these four guys are not talented.
Right.
So I mean, it was definitely going to be good. The match was fine for what it was. But I think at this point, which the guy who's right or girl, I'm not sure, who's writing the Bleacher Report on this particular episode, says specifically that they're numb to everything going on with the JAS and the BCC. That's kind of where I am too. Like I'm ready for them to separate from each other and do something else.
I'm hoping that the pay-per-view yesterday does that.
Yes. Which we'll talk about that on a separate episode, but absolutely. We are recording this after ROH. We are going to watch that and report on it later. Both of us were kind of surprised of where they decided to broadcast it.
I caught some of the pre-show too. That's definitely worth going back and worth a watch.
Yeah.
Worth a watch too.
So we're gonna watch that and we'll record an episode on that later. But yeah, I'm hoping so too. And as ROH builds, like I'm hoping that happens too, because it's obvious the BCC are seeming to be more ROH, and JAS is staying more AEW. Hopefully that splits the two for a while.
Well, and they announced in the media scrum that ROH is going to do whatever their online thing was, and that's where ROH TV is going to be.
Okay.
Which doesn't make sense in my head.
Yeah.
It's like $10 a month, but I guess it depends on how many shows you're doing that are ROH.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully that's just a for now thing. Hopefully eventually they get a time spot somewhere. But I mean, and I think we mentioned this on a previous episode. I think with ROH, it's about time to crap or get off the pot. Like you got to do something with it. We've got all these titles. You've got ROH gumming up AEW shows. There was actually an AEW show not too far back that it was like 90% ROH stuff, and it's like no, we need to move that because you're going to lose your AEW crowd trying to mix everything into it. So hopefully that's just a placeholder of all right, we'll put it here for now, and then hopefully we'll get a spot later on one of 30 Turner channels that he has. Couple little highlights of it. Claudio T's putting on Hager's purple hat. I hate this purple hat, but that was entertaining though. Him teasing putting it on, and then he field goal kicks it. So that was kind of nice.
Then he yeets it out in the crowd.
Yeah. We did get some "We the People" chants, which is kind of just fun. Sometimes chants can be distracting. Sometimes chants can be completely stupid. I kind of like that the fans brought that in for a little bit, just to reference the idea of Claudio and Hagar being in the ring again. Taz in rare form tonight, but specifically,
that's amazing.
Crowd is chanting "Sammy sucks," and Taz points out he's not even in the match.
That's how much they hate Sammy.
Yeah. And there was a House of Black promo.
I am so ready for them to do more with those people.
Yep. But so they're hinting at their next step. So obviously their next step has something to do with somebody in this ring. So whether it's they're gonna be faces and go against JAS, or if they're gonna try to do something with the BCC, we'll see.
I think with the reaction they've gotten, they're gonna come back face.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree.
Because the crowd has popped for them every time they've come back recently.
Yep. We got a Jamie Hayter interview. Was what it
which was
was.
like 45 seconds. Like, what was
Yeah,
the point?
yeah, it was kind of the thing. So yeah, it was what it was. We had the women's trios match. Sky Blue, Madison Rain, and Kira Hogan against Cargill, Red Velvet, and Layla Gray.
At
Um,
what point are we just going to accept Jade's not losing anytime soon and stop doing this?
yeah.
Now, the flip side is you can see the baddies getting tired of her.
Yes.
So I think what's going to happen, I think that's going to be kind of like the we've talked about with the bloodline. One of them is going to cost her that match.
Right. I know we've talked before of who should do it. I mean, I think at this point, Hogan is kind of a front runner for me.
I have a different one.
Maybe she starts poking into the baddies. Hey, look, she kicked me out. You see what she's doing to you guys, and then that's what gets them to do it. Who do you think?
Either Britt or Saraya.
So
if she's going to lose, it needs to be somebody huge.
I don't disagree. So Saraya, I could
she's
certainly
not
see
going to
that.
wrestle enough that putting the title on her makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and maybe that's how we get the streak in general. Like they do a match, but it's not for the title, and you just get the streak out of the way. Like she's a champ and still the champ, but she's not undefeated anymore.
Yeah, we need to blow this streak up somehow.
Yeah.
Whether it's one of these matches where somebody else in the match, did you just say that somebody else in the match gets pinned?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I was saying, so if we have Saraya versus Jade, like, just have it not be for the title. Like,
yeah.
A grudge match between the two, Saraya wins, and then Jade lost, so no more streak, but she's still the champ.
See, I just thought of this. You do another one of these matches like this, one of the baddies takes the loss. But technically, Jade's not undefeated anymore.
Yeah.
And then we complete that. She kicks them to the curb, and then it's Jade against the world, and somebody can. Then her undefeated streak is over, and we can get away from that. So her losing isn't a big deal.
Yeah.
And she can stick with the I haven't been pinned, but everybody can be like, "You still lost."
Yeah. It's one of those like we had talked about. I don't think it was on one of the shows. I think it was just when you and I were talking after a recording one night. About the bloodline and how we're getting to a point where it's like I don't really care anymore because I know he's not losing.
Right.
That's kind of where I am with Jade. This all seems to be on autopilot now, and it's just lull. Jade wins at the end of the day, and it's like, so I don't care about your match anymore because at the end of the day you're gonna win. So there's no suspense in this.
Gotcha. I agree.
Little things in this. Hater did say that the match between Hikaru Shida and the Bunny, the winner of that, gets to face her.
I thought it was random as shit.
Yeah, that was just a really no build to that at all. Just like, all right, whoever wins that match, which I love the Bunny. Bunny is I love the Bunny. However, there was no way Shida was not winning that match. So why don't you just call out Shida? Like, just
or come out after the match and call her out, something.
Blue tried for a baseball slide, but Velvet caught her in the ring apron and pounded away on her.
That was nice.
I always love that spot. That's a spot they used. Nikki used a lot, and Finley used it a lot.
Yeah,
where he trapped him in the apron. Like that's a fun little thing to do, and it's back to what I've said before about like why I love Joe so much. It's practical wrestling.
Yeah,
like, that makes sense to me. Wrap them up so they can't do anything and just beat the hell out of them.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those spots that never gets old.
Yeah. Cargill absolutely obliterated Hogan when she did a spine buster on her. Like, it was just, Jesus Christ, it was tough looking. That leads us to the Acclaimed and FTR match, which again, it's one of those, like, I didn't know I wanted to see this match, but apparently I did.
That match was so good.
It was. So I do like the fact that they finally got their shot. Smart not to put FTR over.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, Makes Acclaimed look even better than they currently are. And plus, it gave, I don't know, it gave a good reason for, like, now they need to fire back up, because then after the match,
Yeah.
after acclaimed win it, you got the Gun Club, and they reveal that FTR is being challenged by Dem Boys, which I'm really glad that we're going to see them on ROH more.
Yes.
Um, because you know why they've been away, right? Did you?
No.
Okay, so one of them, I forget which. I want to say it was Jay. Like 5 years ago, tweeted something ignorant, and so the way culture is nowadays, people
Yeah.
can't grow in 5 years, apparently, and so him tweeting something 5 years ago, even though he's apologized about it today, doesn't matter. So that's kind of why they've been pushing them to the side, and
But there's enough other stuff going on that I think at this point, if you're not going to like them, you're not going to like them.
yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. Well, and it's one of those, we've said it numerous times in numerous episodes already, like separating the character from the person, like him
There's
on.
some situations you can't do that, but this is one of those you can.
Yeah, well, and not only that, but I don't know if you've seen them on Twitter. Them on Twitter is basically their character. Like, they're very
They,
much being the Dem Boys on Twitter. So
yeah.
of course he
They're
probably
very
said
much in
something
the same
ignorant.
vein as MJF. Of course, they're going to say ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea is they're two backwoods, redneck boys. Of course
Yeah.
they're going to say something ignorant 5 years ago, trying to get some heat.
Yeah.
Like, just let's let it go and move on.
Right.
Um, so Acclaimed beat FTR. A couple of things about this. The Acclaim did stereo sharpshooters to FTR,
That
which
was
was
nice.
a nice little touch because of their affiliation with Bret Hart.
That was
Um,
nice.
uh, just side note, Road Dogg is a better sports entertainer than Bret Hart. Just have to say that.
That's you're not. It's not an incorrect statement.
That's a plot for me. Um, I'll talk about that in a second. Let me finish with these. A spike pile driver by FTR, got a 2 count, in a solid near fall spot. Like, I thought it was over at that point.
Right. There were several that I thought it was over, and yeah,
Yeah. There was a cutter combination, which was really nice. Um, Bowens just nearly broke up a pin after a big rig from FTR, which that's another one of those, like, that spot hit and you assume it's done. We're done.
yeah.
Um, so
I did. That was one of those. He broke that up, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
yeah. Wheeler sold the shock of the finish, with a very, like, disappointing face. So good
Knowing what I
selling.
know about the ROH pay per view, I like this loss actually.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I
Um,
like. I don't like the loss because I love FTR. I liked them as the revival. I liked them in their entire WWE run, except when they made them do stupid shit backstage. But their in-ring stuff and their microphone, love them.
yeah,
And everything
absolutely.
they've done since then, everything they've done since they came to AEW, I'm here for it. It was a good loss. It made the Acclaimed look like world beaters.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely made those boys look way bigger than they already are.
Yep, absolutely did.
And that loss doesn't hurt FTR at all. Um, so it was a good loss.
It was a good loss. I perfectly fine with it. I don't think anybody got hurt in this loss, especially with Bowens breaking up the pin on that, and how, like, they made it look like if he did not get to them in time, we were done.
Yeah.
And so that's fine, because it's still no one kicking out of that. It
The
still did the
storytelling,
finisher.
the storytelling in this match was so good.
Yeah.
So good. But yeah, no, great match. great respect shown at the end,
Yeah.
and nothing they did hurt anybody in that, and it made the Acclaimed look like $1 million.
Yeah.
To me at this point, FTR are like the Shawn Michaels of tag team wrestling.
Hmm.
They can make anybody look good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, they made AOP look good, and that took
That's
a
saying
second.
a lot.
All right, so that brings us to Rampage. So Rampage, we had just said last week how this had kind of become the Thunder um, of
They changed that
AEW.
this week.
Yeah, this week there was a lot in it. We started off with the John Moxley versus Takeshita.
Wait, was the Regal thing Monday or Wednesday or Friday?
So no, the Regal thing was on Dynamite. Do you want
Yeah.
to talk more into that?
It-
Or
we didn't
hold on,
talk about it at
hold on,
all.
hold
That's
on.
why I was.
No. So that was on Dynamite. That was after the Wheeler Claudio match,
Yeah.
tag match. Um, I mean, we can talk to it real quick. It was awkward. Did I lose you again?
I can't. My computer's having issues. You're good. Keep going.
Okay. Um, it was awkward. Very weird placement. Very weird to have that there at all. You had mentioned like it's not very often that we get a character to be able to say goodbye, and it
Right.
like you didn't really need to, which is why it was weird. And then his explanation of why he did what he did
Yeah.
didn't really make a lot of sense. And you could even almost see it um, on Mox's face, like after they played it. I had mentioned to you when we talked about it, to me, it's almost like they hadn't showed it to Mox before, so it's the first time he's seeing it. You can almost see him mouth the words like, "Why are we watching this?" Like
Right.
it's
It just the explanation was stupid.
yeah. I turned
I
on
don't
you
have a
because you didn't
problem
need me
with it.
anymore.
I
What?
get it, but the explanation was stupid.
Yeah. Well, and it's stupid because we can't do any follow up with that piece. If we ended it where it was and Regal didn't say anything about what he was doing, you can put Brian Danielson, against MJF and continue the story of he took out his mentor, he took out his father figure. You can continue that. Now that we
Right.
have a reason why he did it, and the reason was so everybody can now focus on MJF, like he has a target on his back now. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Didn't he already have a target on his back? He's
Yeah,
the champ.
yeah. Well, to him though, that was the reason he handed him the championship, is so now he has a target on his back. But what does that do? Like he already put a target on his own back because he's out there bad mouthing people left and right. So he didn't really need help with that.
I, like I said, it was just stupid.
Yeah, very very odd. I mean, I guess good for him that he got to have some closure to his character, but it was very odd. It was a weird placement. It's one of those things that 2 or 3 months from now, it didn't make an impact on anything. This will
No,
be
it
the
doesn't.
forgettable thing. Where if we just talk about him being knocked out and he was out of AEW, that's something to me that's a more unforgettable end because he took him out. Now
It
it's
just
you took him out, but he screwed you first before you could screw him. Like it was weird.
it was just stupid.
Yeah. Um. Okay. So Moxley Takeshita. Um. Kind of slow starting match. I was very worried just from the first couple of minutes about maybe their chemistry not being there, or maybe Takeshita not being ready for the American style.
Right.
There was something weird, but it did pick up very quickly. You got Moxley blading, or Hardway. I'm not sure. I didn't see him blade. I don't say that as in like I saw him blade, but he definitely got busted open one way or another. Um,
Right.
so that definitely happened. Um, so this is one of those, like, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump to the end here. Obviously, like, Mox wins this match, um, but it was a good match. Like, if you can get past that first couple of minutes, it's a really good match. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it for sure. Um, I I do love that he has variations. Him being Mox, um, that there's variations on his finisher.
The paradigm shift.
Yeah, so like you have the Death Rider DDT, which is where he elevates it more. Um, I do like that.
I do and I don't. It basically just turns into a butterfly suplex.
It does.
I,
Maybe if
to me,
he,
there's not enough drop on it.
yeah, maybe if he brainbustered it more, like,
Then that
I
would
see
be a
what you're talking
different
about.
conversation.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You turn that Rough Rider into a brain buster type, that's fine. Otherwise, it's a butterfly suplex.
Yeah,
It's
I
not.
I always was curious why he, so like when he first got there in AEW, that he elevated it in the first place. Like, just
He
do
just wanted to
the,
do it different. To me, he
yeah,
just wanted to do it different than it was in WWE.
yeah, but which is fine. But then if eventually you're gonna have this, like, here's my finisher, and then here's a rougher finisher, do the
It needs to be
normal,
rougher,
yeah,
not less rough. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
do the normal at the time dirty deeds, and have that be the Rough Rider, and then elevate it
Yeah,
to where currently the Rough Rider is, and then that is the tougher of, I had to pull this out to
yeah.
beat this guy. So Hangman makes a beeline for the ring after the match. Um, Paige basically saying, Doc Samson didn't clear me, um,
But I
and
don't
then
care.
but I don't care, basically. Yeah. So Hangman cracked Moxley with a stiff right hand. Then him and Paige brawled. So another pull apart brawl for him. We're really trying to build this thing up, and I think we're trying too hard. Like, it's just two dudes that can beat the crap out of each other. Let's just stick with that.
What did he bounce Paige off of? I missed what the shot was that made Paige go kind of loopy.
He Mox whipped Page head first to a steel ring post.
Okay. And then he went down. Like, if we're going to say he has a concussion, keep him off the screen. If we're not, quit playing with this. This is not something to play with anymore.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of those things that I get it, but
well, and not that we couldn't use that type of gimmick, but to me, that gimmick would be better suited for Daniel Bryan or Soraya, because I'll care more. You have
except I don't
them.
want to see either one of them take that shot because it's just going to.
No, but that's the thing, though. If they can do it, and they can do it safely, and they can do it and not actually get hurt, you're gonna tug at my heartstrings more if one of them do it.
Yeah.
Than Paige.
I mean, yeah. I just either he has a concussion or he doesn't.
Yeah.
Stop this.
Yeah.
This is not. This is not the way to do this.
Yeah. And maybe you're right. Maybe it's time for that type of thing to go away, where we don't, put a concussion in a storyline.
But with as much as they've had going on with people that have actual concussions, to me, this is not something that should be in a story at all. It shouldn't be.
Yeah, I respect that. That's a good opinion. Next we get Sheeta and the Bunny, with Penelope Ford out there. The winner earns a shot at Jamie Hayter because of a random call out.
Very random.
To end the match, Sheeta blasted Bunny with a Mick driver, and then pinned the Bunny after a katana kick. So she wins.
That katana kick was terrible.
Yeah.
That was bad.
I was gonna let that slide.
I'm not. I love women's wrestling, but I'm gonna call it out when it's crappy. It's like Ronda in that turnbuckle shot.
We'll talk about Ronda later.
We'll get to that.
The champ Jamie Hayter walked down the ramp after the match, and she and Sheeta had a nice little stare down. So we're gonna have that. Odd build for that match. Like,
I like Jamie Hayter, and I want more out of this.
Mm-hmm.
but I already don't care.
Yeah, it's
I don't
I
care.
don't. You literally could have built something, and it was just like, hey, she just got this title in this other company, and she's going to face the bunny, and whoever wins this title that none of us know anything about, they can face me for my title. Huh? Doesn't make sense to me. Um, the firm's Lee Moriarty and Big Bill Morrissey, with Stokely Hathaway versus Izzy James and Clayton Bloodstone. Um, this is more of like what we talked about it being Thunder. It was two guys that you want to have big names, and they were facing two nobodies, and I didn't care. I didn't care about this match at all.
This
Um,
should have been on Dark or Elevation. This should not have been on Rampage. You want to
absolutely,
build them up, cool. First of all, you don't need to build up W more big cast. You don't need to.
yeah,
He has shown his dominance every time he's been on that screen.
yep.
Why? And Lee Moriarty has done enough in the time he's been there. Same thing.
Yeah. The only thing, so I will say, the only thing that did get me to care about this, it is the first time that I've looked at Big Bill. I'm gonna keep saying it until it sticks in my brain. Um, that I've seen him in a tag match, and I didn't think about Enzo. Like him and Lee
Okay,
actually
that's
make,
fair because I didn't either.
yeah, him and Lee actually make a decent team. They look kind of good together. Like so, okay, I'm good with them being a team, but I agree with you though. Like this was a squash match, and there's a place for that.
This
But
is
that
not the
play
place.
that place is dark.
That place is YouTube.
Yeah, let them
The
get that
problem
big
is,
win over and move on.
I don't mind this character from him, but the character he was as Big Cass, because you can't teach that, was amazing.
Yeah,
And I feel like you're losing. He's a dominant big man. We get it. But give me a reason to care about him being a dominant big man.
yeah.
I need some of that personality
Yeah,
that
and
he has.
the stuff he did in Impact when he kind of first showed back up,
Mm-hmm.
he got to show some of that personality as a heel.
Okay.
And I'm with you. Like I think when they win, and I'm gonna say win because he's a good looking kid. He's 7 foot tall. He's good in the
He's good in the
ring,
ring.
and he's good
He's
on the
good in the
mic.
ring.
Like eventually, he's going to be a face, and he's going to be going for a major title. When that happens, I think we'll see a lot more out of him. I think he'll get to show more of his personality because I think he's one of the few that he's going to be a better face than he is a heel. He's not good
I
at being just the mean, badass, tall dude that's going to whoop you.
With the change in regime, I think the second he has the chance, he goes back.
I don't disagree. I do like the fact there was I'm going to say recently, but recently is in the last couple of months. There was a
Right.
interview with him where someone had mentioned like, has there been any talks of like you and Enzo and that whole thing? Because here's the thing, like the Enzo thing, it ended in his favor. He's back on the Indies, trying to build his name back up. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Hunter touches that. I don't know.
I don't think
But
so, just because of the backstage drama that he
yeah,
caused.
but I bring that up to say this, and that's Cass flat out said, and of course it's a wrestler saying things, so
Right.
but that he has no real desire to like replay that role, which I don't blame him.
I don't either.
He doesn't need to play second fiddle, and that's what
No.
he is with Enzo. And
I definitely think if he went back, a good thing to do would be to put him with like MVP, give him a
Mhm.
good mouthpiece,
Yeah,
but at the same time, kind of do the same thing they did with Brock and Paul towards the end. Let him do some of his own talking.
yeah, slowly start handing him the mic. Well, and so like you say, Brock and Paul, to me, I even attribute that more with Reigns and Paul. Because they essentially
Yeah.
took the mic out of Reigns' hand and said, okay, he's not going to talk for a while. And then slowly
Right.
he has started handing him back the mic for more and more time.
And now it's all Roman.
Yeah.
Unless he says, wise men let him know.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
it eased him into being that talker.
and he's done a great job with it. Roman
Yeah.
has killed that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think at some point he goes back. I think honestly, if I brought him back, I'd run him back through NXT.
Yeah.
Because him and Von Wagner would be a solid match.
Oh, yeah. Two big meaty men slapping meat. Shout out to Biggie. Um,
I do love me some Big E.
I,
I
I
miss that guy
yeah,
so much.
I don't disagree. That would be a good match. That would be.
Yeah, but
Um,
I don't think it'd be a bad thing to put him there. Put the title on him.
yeah,
Let
no,
him
no.
hold it for 6 months.
He'd definitely be one of those like if you're gonna bring people down, like we'll on our next recording we're going to talk about SmackDown, and then we're also going to talk about in another recording we're going to talk about what happened down at Deadline. Um, and yeah, I mean, obviously bringing some mainstream talent down to NXT can get some eyes on it.
And it gets
yeah.
people in NXT in ring reps with experience.
Yep. And if you get Big Cass back down there, maybe change his Titantron so when he stands in front of it, it doesn't say Big Ass. Maybe
That's funny,
but it would get some eyes on it. Like obviously, that's not going to be like a New Day coming back, but
right?
if you get Big Cass and promote it right, you're going to get some extra eyes that come back and go, hey, I remember that dude. They were funny.
And I hate to say it, you could bring back the "You Can't Teach That."
Yeah.
Without or the soft, which was so good. Oh my god,
dude,
that
yeah.
popped every time.
I have never heard that they trademarked it, and if they haven't, I don't know why he's not doing it, because the soft thing was the greatest thing ever.
That the first Raw where they came out with the Dudleys was hysterical, but the crowd pop in Brooklyn for that, was crazy.
Absolutely, such a good thing.
Okay, off topic. Go ahead.
This leads us to the main event. Freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy with his best friends going against Kip Sabian's choice, which was, surprise, Trent Seven. I popped so hard for British Daddy.
So I had seen that on Twitter that it was going to be him, and I was like, "Why is everybody talking about Trent Seven?" And then I was like, "Oh shit, Rampage." Okay.
Yeah. I love Trent Seven.
I'm a fan.
You know, he definitely could have came in since he was going to be there for Kip, playing heel, but he didn't. He was playing himself. So it almost seems like this match. Hopefully, we get that nice little picture of him saying he's all elite. Hopefully, he gets to be part of the roster for good. He had an AEW towel, so hopefully that means that that's already in the works. Means that we'll move him away from Kip and he just gets to be Trent Seven. I don't want him stuck with somebody. I want him to just go in there and.
I don't mind him sticking with Kip at first.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think a couple of weeks would be a bad thing. At the same time, they need to let Kip Sabian go. Let him get in there and do some stuff.
Yeah.
Because they were using the whole he wasn't cleared because of something, and then at the end of the match, he jumped in and put the beat down on.
Yeah. Which that's always kind of been the thing. Like he was out in the crowd doing a thing because he couldn't do stuff, and then now he's injured because of what happened at the Lumberjack match.
That whole thing with the box on his head was so good.
It was.
I'm like, for the longest time, I'm like, who the fuck is this person? And then they were like, it's Kip Sabian. And I was like, what?
Well, and I love the fact, just what little I did watch at the time, I love that they didn't reference it at first. And everybody
saw him there.
Yeah, everybody on Twitter was like, is this like a red hat guy type of thing where it's just a fan that is always going to be there? Is it that type of thing? What's going on?
Yeah.
And then slowly it started being like messages were written on the box and he had signs and like, okay, so obviously it was going to be a thing. And then it being Kip Sabian was a nice touch. I'd never seen a lot of Kip outside of just little clips on Twitter of him doing stuff on the indies, but I want to see him get in there too. I think him and Cassidy, when it happens, is going to be a great match. If nothing else, just be a lot of fun. But to me, great match. But then again, that's just because I'm a massive Orange Cassidy fan. I'm a massive Trent fan. So I mean, it was good.
I agree. It was a good match. Very well done.
Yeah. Orange Cassidy did end up getting the win. at the end of it, Kip jumped in, did give Orange a beatdown, and then out comes Dustin Rhodes. Um, I don't know what for. Like, I get it's Dustin, but
They were in Austin, Texas. That's why.
oh, there you go. Okay, yeah,
That was the only reason they needed.
I
Another
gotcha.
reason to put Dustin on TV.
But so he went in there, hit Trent with the flip flop and fly, which is always fun. Like,
I'm anytime you do something dusty, I'm here for it.
yeah. Um, so yeah, good overall. I think we both agree like that tag match could have been on Dark, but definitely a better Rampage than what we have been seeing.
I think that tag match could have been Dark. I think the Sheeta match could have been on Dark. Like there was no the fact that we had zero build. The Jamie Hayter interview was stupid, and there was no build to this match. Who cares?
So
we can turn around and give Sheeta the title back.
The way it was written, I agree. I think if they would have wrote it like, first of all, beef up more the fact that Sheeta won that title. Let us know what is this title about? Where's it from? Like, let us know more about that.
Right.
And then
they talked about it a little, but not enough that I care.
But then just have Hayter go, hey, why are you guys talking about her? Like, she's winning a champion. It's not even here.
See, that would have been so much better.
Yeah, because then now you have a reason for this match.
Whoever wins, gets a shot at this.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Well, and to me, that plays into what's been going on because, like, what happened at first when she won the title? They interviewed Britt, and she's like, hey, I'm the champ. And so then, if you beef up this championship and how great it is that Sheeta won it, and she goes, whoa, I'm a champ here. She's off gallivanting getting crap somewhere else because she can't beat me.
Yeah, they could have done this so much better.
Yeah.
If you were going to do that, I would have done the Sheeta match whenever, referenced it in the interview on Dynamite, and then on Rampage had Sheeta come out and say, I'm sorry, you don't understand that I'm the best wrestler in the world. You're just an okay one here.
Yeah.
Have a little face-off. You do it in 5 minutes, and the match makes more sense and matters.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, to me, Rampage was eh. The Moxley to catch the thing was good.
Yep.
The Orange Cassidy Trent Seven match was good. Otherwise, eh.
Yeah.
It's Thunder.
I did see. I forgot to write down his name. It wasn't anybody like in the business. It was just a guy tweeted a thing, and it popped on my feed. He'd mentioned an idea that I kind of liked, and that's, blood nowadays is not big money.
It's not.
So he mentioned, what if we did Rampage was more like a Rampage After Dark type of thing?
Like a hardcore?
Where that's where Moxley gets to come in and bleed all over the place like he does. We get to do barbed wire matches. Like, we get to do the stuff that they're trying to sprinkle in on the main thing on Dynamite. And so then you have two places to go. I
think it would pull a little different audience. I think you would give some of those people that enjoy those matches.
Yeah.
Him, Eddie Kingston, bring in Nick Gage every once in a while.
Yeah.
Because Omega's not opposed to it. Jericho's not opposed to it.
Yeah.
You can put some bigger names on there.
Cardona. There you go. It was the last name I couldn't get, and so it was just like Ryder. I can't remember what his name is now.
The Long Island IC.
Yeah. Unless he is going into WWE, which is currently the rumor that he may be coming back. Sign him up, have him do stuff there, because he's the king of the death match now.
He's
love
the
it.
ECW champion.
That's no ECW TV champion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Which they're not on TV anymore, so I'm kind of curious how that title even works. But
he doesn't care.
No. Doing the best work of his life, though. And I love that dude, and I wouldn't mind seeing him on either program. Put him on my TV, put him there with Chelsea, because Chelsea is chef's kiss. We'll just say that. So that ends our coverage of AEW Dynamite and Rampage. Two decent matches. Definitely look forward to watching the ROH pay-per-view. and doing some stuff on that, because I think the people that are going in that, AEW, ROH or not, either way, are going to be some good matches. And some of this, like the only build that I see that I'm really excited about, unfortunately, is Starks and MJF. That I'm excited about that. Everything else, I'm hoping we see some changes coming up on the next show, next Dynamite. So we look forward to that. Hopefully, see that happen.
I felt like this was, for some things, it was kind of a blow off show.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm hoping it's kind of like a season ender for some things.
Yeah.
Like the acclaimed FTR. We just move the acclaimed onto the ass boys. Let's move on to that.
Yeah.
Starks, MJF starting up. Cool.
Yeah.
The women's title, that's a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of felt like a season ender for some things.
Yeah. Like a Raw after Mania type of, like, let's tie up these little loose ends. Let's start something new and move on. I could definitely see that. Hopefully that's what we'll see when we look over Dynamite and Rampage next week. Until then, thanks for coming and having fun with us, and we'll see you again.